We are very pleased to welcome you all to the Philippines and to the opening ceremony of the 6th World Tourism Organization International Conference on Tourism Statistics. We highlight the UN Declaration of 2017 as the International Year of Sustainable Tourism, which emphasizes the contribution of tourism to sustainable development and how it takes full account of economic, social, and environmental impacts to address the needs of people, industries, the environment, and host communities. The International Year aims to support a change in policies, business practices, and consumer behavior towards a more sustainable tourism sector that can contribute effectively to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. To officially deliver the message of His Excellency, Rodrigo Roa Duterte, President of the Republic of the Philippines, we would like to call on Honorable Wanda Tulfo Teo, Secretary of the Department of Tourism of the Philippines.
The President will not be able to be with us today. However, I was asked to deliver his speech. To our distinguished guests from the UN World Tourism Organization, partners, fellow workers in the government, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant day to all of you. The Philippines is one of the leading tourist destinations in the world today. This is why the government continues to find ways to improve our system to make traveling more enjoyable and convenient to our guests. I thank the World Tourism Organization for working closely with the Department of Tourism in making this international conference possible. More than just a proof that the Philippines remains a safe destination for meetings, conferences, and other tourism activities, it also affirms the Filipinos' effort to promote tourism as a vehicle for nations' sustainability and inclusive progress. May this platform provide an opportunity for the delegates to gain a deeper understanding on sustainable tourism. I hope that this will lead to the formation of monitoring tools to assess tourism targets in accordance with the Sustainable Development Goals. The pursuit of sustainable development, including sustainable tourism, requires us to protect our environment from pressures that could lead to pollution, environmental degradation, commoditization, and exploitation due to over-commercialization. As tourism becomes a major socio-economic activity and a vital source of employment and foreign exchange, in the Philippines, it has become important to develop other sectors that help boost the tourism industry. Thus, I call on our partners from the international community and all our kababayans in their respective localities to reinforce our efforts in developing our tourism assets for future generations to enjoy and benefit from. I trust that this conference will lead viable measures and policies that will truly protect delicate ecosystem, conserve cultural heritage, and ensure the development of sustainable and inclusive tourism in the Philippines. This is not only for the Filipinos, but for everyone in the world who wants to experience the beauty and warmth of our country. Again, welcome to the Philippines, and mabuhay kayong lahat.
for that message, Honorable Secretary Tulfo Teo. This time, we would like to welcome Special Envoy to the United Nations Statistical Commission, Dr. Pali Lehola, for his welcome address.
Excellencies, Secretary Tulfo Teo, President of the Senate, Secretary General Rifai, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I represent here the United Nations Statistics Commission. In doing so, I want to talk to the theme of trust and greatness. Statistics is a conduit of trust. In that respect, I wish you all a happy International Year of Sustainable Tourism. And indeed, it's an honor and a pleasure for me to deliver this statement on behalf of the global community of official statisticians. Let me start by saying how remarkable and heartening it is to see so many of you here this morning to a conference which is focused on measurement and statistics, because statistics is a conduit of trust. With all this attention, I can truly say that it is a wonderful time to be a statistician. Statisticians are dining with royalty and the well-heeled. I trust they will contribute positively to the high table for betterment of humanity. Shakespeare in the 12th Night says, "Some are born great, others achieve greatness, while some others have greatness thrust upon them." Statisticians have to define themselves in this context. Since 2000, I've served and still serve my country, South Africa, as Statistician General. And it is my duty and my privilege to lead my office, which is Statistics South Africa, in producing and providing the high quality of official statistics for evidence-based policymaking at the national and subnational levels. I'll come back to this role of statisticians. I'm also proud to have served at the international level as chairperson of the 39th and 40th session of the United Nations Statistics Commission in 2008 and 2009. And in that period, in 2009 September, I was responsible for hosting the 57th session of the International Statistics Institute, the World Cup of Statistics. This statistical commission was established in 1947 and brings together every year the chief statisticians from all member states around the world. It is the highest decision-making body for official statistics. This commission defines the common language of statistics for virtually all economic, environmental, or social matters. When we talk about birth rates, about our national income or debt, about carbon emissions, about unemployment, we, the UN member states, and we, the people, can understand each other because we have defined the measurement of these concepts in a specific way through the Statistical Commission. It is worth noting that in 2008, I had the honor to chair, as chair, to say the words, "It is so decided," and I had this grovel, and when I hit it on the table, it is so decided for statisticians. And in that respect, this was for the adoption of the international recommendations for tourism statistics. At that moment, we collectively decided that the rules would be for the measurement of tourism statistics. We decided who is a visitor, what is a tourism trip, what is covered by tourism expenditure, and how to deal with tour operators. Those were things we decided, and today I'm very pleased that I can enjoy the tourism environment rather than measure it, but actually enjoy myself about it. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to briefly take pause with the importance of official statistics and trusted data in a world in which media in general and social media in particular have taken an increasingly prominent role, in which all of us are confronted with fake news and alternative facts on a daily basis. The lines between what is fact and what is fiction have become blurred in everyday life. what is natural and what is artificial, including artificial plants. What is real and what is virtual have become almost impossible to distinguish. The day of robotics is here with us. Imagine when we have successfully gone into a conversation in the Philippines and we have said, "Omagandang umaga." And unbeknown to you, the lady robot responds seductively, and you go further and say, "Inibikita." Quite possibly, if not careful, one may wear the robot and discover just too late and pay damages to an immortal object. The difference between fact and fiction is very blurred. Against this background, it is now more crucial than ever that safeguards are in place to maintain public trust in official statistics. My knowledge of Umaganda Umaga in Ibikita has nothing to do with Dr. Africa, who was the chief statistician of the Philippines in the 1995 when I visited the Philippines. It had nothing to do with Mr. Ramolo, Dr. Ramolo, who was the former statistician of this. Neither has it anything to do with Lisa Besals, who is the chief statistician currently. It had to do with a teacher from the Philippines who taught me mathematics in 1975. He taught me these languages, including Umaganda Umaga, Umaganda Hapon, Salamapo, as well as Inibikita. It is therefore important to note that on the 29th January 2014, the United Nations General Assembly unanimously endorsed the fundamental principles of official statistics and offered in this way significant political support for the independence of official statistics. For example, Principle 2 states that to retain trust in official statistics, the statistical agencies need to decide according to strictly professional considerations, including scientific principles and professional ethics. In times when facts are sometimes being challenged, the society should be able to retain trust in the information communicated by the statistical agencies. That is why I say statistics is a conduit of trust. The focus of this conference is on the measurement of sustainable tourism. This topic covers all three pillars of sustainability, namely the economic, social, and environmental pillars for people, planet, and prosperity. This makes it a beautiful and at the same time very challenging topic. The tourism sector provides income and employment, but could come at a cost for the environment and the cultural heritage. That is why we need to measure all these aspects in a coherent and integrated way. Gone are the days when the environment had no one to speak on its behalf, not when robots can speak for themselves and pass easily for living organisms. Certainly, environment deserves better and should and demands to be treated with dignity. In this regard, sustainable tourism is of course a prime example for the goals and targets of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Tourism can be a driver for the economy, lift parts of society out of poverty, and improve health and education, while pointing to the needs for sanitation, clean water, renewable energy, and clean energy, and easing of environmental pressures. Over the 3 days of the conference, the statistical framework for measuring sustainable tourism will be discussed in detail, and I'll shun detail in these opening remarks. However, let me underscore a few important conditions for effective measurement. First, institutional cooperation. The National Statistical Office cannot collect, compile, and disseminate statistics all by itself. It needs cooperation and support from many national institutes, especially for a multidimensional topic such as tourism. Second and foremost, close cooperation should exist between the National Tourism Authority and the Statistical Office. Ministries of Labor on the one hand and the environment have to be involved too on the other. Stakeholder interaction, that is the second. Rarefied and quiet statisticians need to go out and talk more to the users of the data, such as the Tourism Association, tour operators, cultural heritage associations, and environmental protection groups, and of course, enjoy the attractive tourist destinations. Those interactions will create mutual understanding and support, and obviously prove to be more exciting than an acting robot like statistician behind a computer. Stakeholder engagement was also at the center of the first ever UN World Data Forum, which was hosted by Statistics South Africa in Cape Town in January of this year. This forum brought together government, businesses, civil society, and the scientific and academic communities to find new initiatives and solutions that will deliver better data for all. We need, thirdly, systems approach. Tourism statistics cannot be properly understood by itself. It needs to be embedded in a theoretical and statistical framework. Through such integrated approach, we can better understand what the contributions of the tourism sector are for the national economy, for employment, for waste management, for energy use, for health services, for maintenance of coral reefs, and so on. The integrated system approach brings all of the economic, social, and environmental aspects together and provides, in that way, the information needed by the policymakers and needed by all tourist stakeholders. Being in Asia, I may display a few abilities in language, such as I've said Salamapo, Ariakato, Okentomtom, and so on, for different regions in Asia. Let me conclude by re-emphasizing that the statistical community seeks to work closely together with all of the stakeholders, be it in government, academia, private sector, or civil society. It is our duty to provide relevant official statistics as an indispensable element in the information system of a democratic society. Statistics is a conduit of trust, and greatness have come to statisticians. Let me then, therefore, thank you very much, the distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Salamapo, Okentomtom, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Lehola. Now, may we call on His Excellency, Taleb Rifai, Secretary General of the World Tourism Organization, to officially open the 6th UNWTO International Conference on Tourism Statistics.
I wish I had the language skills of our very good friend, but I can still say Madangang Umaga and have a very, very beautiful Manila morning. President of the Senate, Mr. Pimentel, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's a great pleasure. Your presence here is a very strong and clear message as to the importance that Philippines does place on tourism and the related subjects. Thank you for being with us this morning. Thank you, sir. My dear friend, Minister Wanda, and I like to call you just Wanda, just to break through the formalities. Thank you so much. Your energy is overwhelming. Your hospitality has been wonderful. You and your team have done a great thing, a great job in welcoming all of us. You can see the energy in this room. You can see the smiles. You can see the feelings of comfort. Thank you so much. It's been great to get to know you in the short period of time that you have assumed your responsibility. You've done a great job under very challenging circumstances. Thank you so much, Minister. Mr. Leola, what can I say? I wish I could emulate your language skills. However, I must admit, I'm always impressed with the energy that stems from South Africa. The African energy is here with you, and you have definitely get us started off on the right tone. Thank you so much for your thoughts. Thank you for what you have shared with us this morning. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, dear ministers, and I wish I could name you one by one, but we do have a very tight schedule and we have to have lunch at 2 o'clock. So I can't name you all one by one, very good friends that are here today. I thank your presence here, representatives from the tourism, the environment, and the statistics. And your presence here symbolizes the commitment that we all have to this wonderful human activity called travel and tourism. Ladies and gentlemen, Charles Dickens once said, "We live the best of times, we live the worst of times." We definitely live times of natural disasters and health pandemics, times of economic crisis, times of terror threats and wars. And by God, we have seen much of those. This part of the world has been also experiencing much of that. Times of persistent inequality, times of menace of climate change, and much, much more. All what you need to do is listen to the news every morning, and you probably would feel that the world is falling apart. But despite of these complex interlinking challenges, despite of isolationist acts against the freedom of travel and movement, and against many other freedoms, I want to suggest very boldly that we do, like Charles Dickens says, live in the best of times. It's a beautiful world, ladies and gentlemen. Just landing last night by the airplane here in Manila, looking around, many thoughts came to my mind. How beautiful, energetic this country is and the people of this country. Waking up in the morning and seeing the people going to work. I had to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning because of the difference in time between here and Europe. I was thinking in my mind, this is a blessed place. People are up and working. They're up and working when the rest of the world is still sleeping. This is a very special country. This is a very special place. I want to suggest that we definitely live the best of times. First, we are indeed more connected, more informed, and therefore we care more about each other. At the tip of our fingers, if we reach out to our mobiles that we cannot be separated from, you're receiving news every morning, every minute, every spot, as it happens. This may disturb you, but just think about it. It gets you more involved. We know more about each other. We care more about each other. We're a better international global community. In the past, much has happened. We never heard about it. We didn't care about it. Caring is important. We're more compassionate, more understanding, and therefore we're more one global community. Secondly, because billions of people traveling the world today belong to a group of believers. We're a tribe called the tribe of travelers, believing in the beauty of this world, the beauty and strength of our diversity, the beauty of our diversity, our right as human beings to enjoy this beauty and this diversity. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to suggest that tourism has become today a human right, just as all other rights. My right to housing, my right to education, my right to health. It's my right to travel, my right to enjoy the world, my right to do business, my right to get educated, my right to see things as God has given them to us. It's our right to enjoy life. But thirdly, because we'd like to believe today that the transformative force that travel and tourism is embodied in is a cornerstone in making this world a better place, and it is. Travel and tourism today can break down stereotypes and misconceptions, bring people together. All what it takes is for us to come here to see all the myths that are being spread about this part of the world. We are here, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to tell the world, come to Manila, come to the Philippines. Make no mistake about it. Anybody that tries to pretend or present any other versions of this story should come and see it in our eyes. We're here. We're here to send a very clear and strong message to the world. Come to the Philippines. We don't want to say it's safe, because it is. We're not in the habit of repeating what is obvious. Just come and see us, meeting here in hundreds and sending the message to the world. The Philippines is a wonderful place to be in. Come here and feel good. When you never have feelings of hate, resentment, or any kind of negative feelings to people that you have visited. Tourism and travel breaks all the stereotypes and creates a completely new way of feeling and thinking. You can never have negative feelings to people that you have shared food with, shared their music, shared their stories, and shared their dreams. But in addition to all of this, tourism is a wonderful human activity, providing 1 out of 10 jobs all over the world. Every job in tourism creates 1.4 jobs other down the value stream. It's a powerful and a very effective socio-economic transformative force. Tourism generates jobs for local communities, jobs where people live. You don't have to move to get your job. And it's a non-transferable job. It's a job that's connected to the place and to the people. It keeps people from migrating for work, a challenge that we have to face in today's world. Tourism also brings much needed resources that go into protecting and restoring our monuments and our natural areas worldwide. I always like to remember that whenever you visit a place that has been historically important, just think the resources that are needed to protect this place could not have ever been utilized or come up with without the power that tourism brings into them. Last but not least, tourism builds peace and understanding and breaks down walls, builds bridges, and makes us better people. Just look at the examples of many countries here in Asia, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, how wonderful they have become after so many challenging years. Croatia, Colombia, all of the countries of the world that have experienced difficulties have come back and shown their best. The real beauty comes out. My dear friends, all of these important contributions and more build contributions to a more sustainable world. Yet, alongside them, we should never forget that many challenges we are still facing. We have to step up tourism's contribution to sustainability in many ways, sustainability at large. For our sector to be relevant, it must be relevant to other sectors, to other aspects of life. We must move forward for a truly green economy where growth and the environment are decoupled from each other. We cannot afford anymore to consume our natural capital. We have to make sure that we enrich it. 2, we have to fight climate change throughout the entire tourism value chain. We must not submit to the current political trends of trying to disassociate ourselves from this real fact that's affecting our lives and the future of our children and grandchildren. We must promote accessibility for all. Tourism cannot deny people that do not have the ability to move around from the pleasure of enjoying this world. Accessibility and tourism for all is a must. 4, we must engage local communities, ensure the benefits of the sector reach them, and prevent negative impact on social fabrics. We cannot afford anymore to have children, women, and vulnerable sectors of our society being exploited. We have to protect the weak. Our industry is a force for good. It cannot be associated with any negative stories of that kind. We also have to make sure that whatever is spent in the country stays in the country, prevent leakages, make sure that the benefits stay here and are spread equally and very fairly amongst people. But to do all this, we have to measure our impact so we can properly manage them. It has been correctly said that we cannot measure. If we cannot measure, we cannot manage. We have to measure accurately and regularly. We need to measure our impact. If we have any hope of reducing carbon emission, we have to know exactly what we're doing. Improve our heritage sites and tourism attractions and manage them the right way. We need to measure the impact of the numbers and the people and who they are on the site. Getting the right infrastructure and carrying the right capacity are decisions that cannot be made without the right data. We have to curb the negative impact on society that we must accept our sector to have. If we don't do this together, we cannot ensure that tourism is a force for good and indeed a tool for a better place and a better world. My dear friends, in 1980, Manila hosted the famous meeting that came up with the Manila Declaration 37 years ago. Today is another milestone. Manila is leading the way today, and this important meeting can be a true milestone for the development of our sector, a landmark moment if we're all committed for a new framework to measure sustainable tourism, a framework supported by the United Nations system, as you have just heard. We're part of the UN family, we're part of the local community. A framework for meaningful and feasible indicators of making tourism a real agent for change, a real contributor to the Sustainable Development Goals, a roadmap for 2030. We have had several conferences leading to a breakthrough in tourism, in statistics. Nice, Bali, and now crowning it in Manila. It is truly crowning, Secretary. In this International Year of Sustainable Tourism, this very important year that was declared by the United Nations General Assembly as a year for sustainable tourism for development, is an opportunity for us to showcase the importance and the ability of our sector to move this world and make it a better world. As a matter of fact, in 2015, the United Nations General Assembly accomplished 3 very important milestones. One, in September 2015, we approved the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. 193 countries together came to represent the international will in approving a roadmap for 2030. In December of 2015, we also came up with the Paris Agreement, a very important milestone. And thirdly, we dedicated 2017 as the International Year for Sustainable Tourism. It is a unique opportunity for all of us to come together, to promote the contributions of travel as a grand 21st century human activity, to achieve the Universal Sustainable Development Goals, all 17 of them. One final thought, my dear friends. In my 3rd visit to your beautiful country, Philippines is a place where you feel good when you're here. We don't go to places that you don't respect. You don't go to places where you don't feel good about it. You have to respect the people, the society, the environment, the culture, the system. When we're here, we feel good about being here because we respect the place. If you respect the place, this respect transforms itself to you. You dig into the reserve of self-respect that needs to be uncovered in your body. The delicious cuisine, the tranquil seafood restaurants, the spectacular creatures, both on sea and on land. All 7,041 islands are welcoming us here. When I think of the Philippines, I think of the bottom of our earth, the soul of our existence, coming up and pushing itself up to the surface of the sea. These rocks that found their way to surface and show the beauty of our inner soul, inner earth. And then they cover themselves with a green carpet, the green blanket. It's a beautiful thing to see how this landscape has formed itself throughout history and throughout time. We're here to discover the inner soul of ourselves, where sunset and heartbreakingly beautiful scenes are dominant, where people greet you warmly with smiles. There's nothing more beautiful than the smile of a Filipino. Ladies and gentlemen, the best place about the Philippines, thing about the Philippines is the Filipinos. You're the wonderful asset of this country. Be proud of it. Rise up and say to the world, we are Filipinos, because the world is lucky to have you. You haven't lived, you haven't experienced the Philippines, you haven't finished your journey of life. You cannot go about your journey of life if you don't visit this beautiful country once in a lifetime at least. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And in the beautiful language, maraming salamat. I'd like to share with you a 1-minute video on how to respect places that you visit. Our motto for the International Year of Sustainable Tourism has been travel, enjoy, respect. Respect the Philippines, it deserves you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, His Excellency Rifai. Before we continue with our program, we have a special video from the UNWTO fitting for the International Year of Sustainable Tourism. Now, to officially welcome us, may we once again call on the Secretary of the Department of Tourism of the Philippines, the Honorable Wanda Tulfo Teo.
Dr. Taleb Rifai, Secretary General of the World Tourism Organization, or UNWTO, Mr. Paulie Chola, Statistician General of South Africa, Senate President Aquilino Pimentel III, distinguished tourism ministers and deputy ministers, as well as statisticians from various countries, colleagues in the government, dear friends from the tourism industry, media invitees, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant morning to all of you. The Philippines is indeed very glad to co-host the 6th UNWTO International Conference on Tourism Statistics here at Resorts World, Manila. The Department of Tourism sees this forum as an opportunity not only to showcase the beauty of our country, but more importantly, to inform the global community that the Philippines remains a safe and secure destination for tourists. An archipelago of 7,641 islands in Southeast Asia, the Philippines is endowed with unique natural wonders, rich cultural heritage, and friendly, hospitable people whose smiles can never be ignored nor forgotten. This enchanting tropical paradise has played host to wide range to tourists whose numbers continue to grow. In the first quarter of this year, 1.8 million international visitors came to our country, registering a growth of 11%, the highest we had in recent years. As we anticipate further growth in the coming years, we are keen in transforming tourism into an environmentally and socially responsible industry that gives high value to the protection of our environment, conservation and enrichment of Philippine culture, and improving the lives of our local communities. The theme of this conference, Measuring Sustainable Tourism, is very much aligned to our vision under 2016-2022 National Tourism Development Plan. It is our vision to secure a better planet for our people and to provide better experience to our tourists and guests. Together with our stakeholders and development partners, the Department of Tourism has undertaken several programs to raise awareness on strategic trust, diversify product offerings, and facilitate innovation and creativity. Along this line, the Zero Carbon Project is currently being implemented in selected destinations in cooperation with the European Union. Last week, we signed an agreement with hotels and MICE associations under the grant from the German government to start transforming the tourism value chain in the said sector into a low-carbon and resource-efficient operation. In partnership with the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, we are also implementing National Ecotourism Strategy that aims to develop ecotourism sites as models for sustainable tourism with local communities owning, engaging, and operating various tourism activities. As a country whose tourism assets are strongly intertwined with environment, we believe that there is so much for us to gain in this conference. We hope that the Manila Call for Action will be adopted in this forum to demonstrate our common resolve to create a better world for our children and future generation. Let us all work together. Thank you and mabuhay.
Thank you, Honorable Secretary Tulfo Teo. And now, to highlight the importance of our conference, please welcome our keynote speaker, Senator Aquilino Pimentel III, Senate President of the Republic of the Philippines.
His Excellency Taleb Rifai, Secretary General of the UN WTO, the Honorable Pali Lehola, the Statistician General of South Africa, of course, our hardworking and charismatic Secretary of Tourism of the Philippines, Secretary Wanda Tulfo Teo. Palakpakan natin ang ating Secretary. Our visiting ministers and tourism officials and government statisticians, fellow Filipinos, fellow tourists, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and a warm welcome to all of you to the Philippines. I am extremely honored by your kind invitation to speak before the World Tourism Congress today. So I would like to thank our hardworking and energetic Tourism Secretary for giving me the privilege to take part in the 6th UN WTO International Conference on Tourism Statistics. I am happy to learn that the UN WTO has taken the initiative to organize these conferences on tourism statistics to formally discuss how statistics can fully measure the impact of tourism in our respective countries and throughout the world. Speaking of your work, I support your goal of developing an international statistical framework that supports the measurement of sustainable tourism. As a mathematician myself, I understand the need for a scientific approach to study and address the problems and challenges present in tourism. Tourism is not only an economic activity, it has also social and environmental dimensions. Hence, it is essential that the formulation of policy in tourism be evidence-based. As a Filipino, I am proud that the leaders and organizers of this World Tourism Congress have seen it fit to hold the Congress in our country. It is a tribute to the capabilities of our tourism officials. It is also a testimonial to the overall environment obtaining in the country that makes for a suitable venue for serious discussions by and for lively interactions among the delegates to the World Tourism Congress. It is also a signal victory for those who believe that life must go on, whatever be the challenges that lie along the way. Tourism is a significant contributor to the growth of the world economy. According to the World Tourism Organization, the tourism industry already contributes 9% of the global GDP and accounts for 1 in 11 jobs worldwide. The Philippines is experiencing a renaissance of sorts in our tourism industry. Notwithstanding the negative news of late about our country, more and more tourists are coming to experience for themselves our country's beauty and culture. They hear it's more fun in the Philippines, so they come to experience it for themselves. I say the Philippines is your home in Asia. I wish to assure our foreign delegates that the situation in Mindanao that led to the declaration of martial law in that region is a temporary situation. The President simply utilized the powers granted to him by the Constitution to protect the people of Mindanao from rebellion. I am confident that once this crisis is over, we will have peace and security in that region that will result in more tourists visiting southern Philippines. The government has a comprehensive peace plan in place that includes giving greater autonomy to our Bangsamoro brothers and sisters through a new enabling law. Our party is also proposing the adoption of the federal system of government as the long-term solution to the Mindanao situation. In the Philippines, our Philippine Statistics Authority reported that the contribution of tourism to our economy was estimated at 8.6% of our GDP in 2016. In the same year, employment generated by the Philippine tourism industry was estimated at 5.2 million jobs, representing 12.8% of the total employment in the country. This makes tourism the 5th largest employer industry and the 3rd largest dollar-earning industry in our country. Tourism is indeed an engine of growth for the Philippines, as it is in other countries. The Duterte administration intends to be also known as the golden age of infrastructure and has come up with the slogan, "Build, build, build," to capture this emphasis on infrastructure. We will undertake a strategic infrastructure program, and tourism infrastructure is going to be an important element of this strategy. This is why the current administration, with the support of the Philippine Congress, is ready to invest $23 billion in the next 6 years to improve our tourism infrastructure. Under the government's new 6-year National Tourism Development Plan, major infrastructure development initiatives such as the improvement of airports, adding or upgrading ports for cruise ships, railways, and the establishment of tourism enterprise zones are expected to ease airport and port congestion and promote the development of additional tourism areas across the country. The Duterte administration intends to fix many of our country's age-old problems. This is the reason why we see changes everywhere, up and down, left and right. One such change is our pursuit of an independent foreign policy. We will decide on our own what is best for our sovereign nation. Under this policy, the Philippines will remain to be a peace-loving, responsible, cooperative, and law-abiding member of the international community of nations. We will be a friend to all nations, and we will conduct our foreign policy based on mutual respect. Our new perspective has warmed our ties with China and Russia. This shift in perspective augurs well for our tourism industry. Our tour operators are already optimistic that more than 1 million Chinese tourists will visit the Philippines before the year's end. And I have been informed that our islands are becoming more and more popular with our Russian friends. We need tourists. More tourists mean greater financial benefits to the host community. However, tourism is more than just dollars and cents. We do need the tourist dollars, but not at the expense of a polluted environment, denuded forests, or displaced indigenous groups. Unfortunately, there are already areas in the country where the local ecology has been severely damaged by mass tourism and the wanton pursuit of profit. Tourism is a vehicle for poverty reduction, a tool for environmental conservation, an impulse for cultural heritage preservation, and an avenue for strengthening people-to-people relationships. Tourism also helps improve the quality of life of local communities by creating alternative livelihood and employment. Hence, a healthy balance must be reached between tourism and the broader social and environmental context. With the adoption of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, our tourism and statistics experts are once again challenged to create a new framework that will now integrate tourism into economic, social, and environmental measurement standards. Tourism is a priority development area that deserves greater attention. Focus now should not be on how much money it can contribute to government coffers, but rather on how it can improve the overall well-being of the people. Growth in the tourism sector, therefore, should go together with improved quality of life for all, respect for the environment's regenerative capacities, and more inclusive decision-making processes. I am therefore honored to be present in this conference that marks the first attempt to commit to measuring sustainable tourism. This conference is proof that ministries of tourism across the globe are quickly incorporating the SDGs into their respective tourism development plans. I earnestly await the proposals from our own Department of Tourism on how to best incorporate the SDGs in the Philippines setting. It may interest the UN, WTO, and the foreign delegates here that we have enshrined the concept of sustainable tourism in our laws. There is Republic Act number 9593, or the Tourism Act of the Philippines, which recognizes sustainable tourism development as integral to the national efforts to improve the quality of life of the Filipino people, providing the appropriate attention and support for the growth of this industry. Thus, the government is mandated under the said law to promote a tourism industry that is ecologically sustainable, responsible, participative, culturally sensitive, economically viable, and ethically and socially equitable for local communities. I support the DOT in its policy of not raising tourism targets further until there is sufficient infrastructure to accommodate arrivals. We should have sufficient flights, adequate port facilities, and enough hotel rooms and clean public toilets, among others, before we aggressively market the country. While we promote the country, we should also continue to invest in infrastructure to ensure that all our visitors have a grand experience in the Philippines. In closing, I would like to express my appreciation for the World Tourism Organization's decision to designate 2017 as the International Year of Sustainable Tourism for Development, and for pushing sustainability as a concept into the forefront of its discussions. I am certain that your meeting in Manila will generate numerous views on how governments can practically measure sustainable tourism. It will also create healthy debate on what particular information, what particular data will be measured, collected, considered, and integrated. Your continuing commitment to the reliable measurement of data will ensure that our decisions as policymakers and legislators will not be formed by conjecture or emotions, but by accurate empirical statistical data. Our goal of sustainable tourism will help us achieve our vision for a Philippine society which is just and fair, which saves and shares, which is scientific and objective, which is peaceful and democratic, which is educated and healthy, and which is most of all happy and free with overflowing love of God and country. I hope that you will find the time to leave this hotel or your hotel to explore and experience for yourself the beauty of the Philippines. Thank you for helping us in this regard, and thank you for your time and attention. A good day to all of you.
Thank you, Senate President. We would like to ask you, sir, to please remain on stage. And we'd also like to invite back on stage Secretary Wanda Tulfo-Teo, His Excellency Taleb Rifai, and Dr. Pali Lehola. Please join each other back on stage for a photo opportunity with our respective tourism ministers. Thank you very much to our Honorable Tourism Ministers, also to the Honorable Secretary Wanda Tulfo-Teo, His Excellency Taleb Rifai, Dr. Pali Lehola, and Senator Aquilino Pimentel III. We anticipate the success of this conference and the productivity of the meetings to come. We request the audience to please settle down for a special production number. Please settle down. Thank you very much.
What about sunrise? What about rain? What about all the things that you said we were to gain? What about killing fields? Is there a time? What about all the things that you said was yours and mine? Did you ever stop to notice all the blood we've shed before? Did you ever stop to notice this crying earth, this freezing shore? What have we done to the world? Look what we've done. What about all the peace that you pledged your only son? What about flowering fields? Is there a time? What about all the dreams that we said was yours and mine? Did you ever stop to notice all the children dead from war? Did you ever stop to notice the crying earth, the weeping shores?
I dream that one day our voices will somehow fill the earth with joy forever. I dream that someday our wishes will somehow soon come true and last forever. I dream that one day our songs in some way will bring a bright tomorrow, full of love, full of hope, full of joy.
I see this one day when all the world will hear us, when all the world will hear us, singing one song together everywhere, singing, we are gonna love you, people of the world. We are gonna make you a better world. We will all respect you, people of the world. We are gonna make you a better world. I dream that one day our voices will somehow fill the earth with joy forever. I dream that someday our wishes will somehow soon come true and last forever. I dream that one day our songs in some way will build a bright tomorrow, full of love, full of hope, full of joy. I see this one day when all the world will hear us. That someday when all will stand before us, singing one song together everywhere, singing, we are gonna love you, people of the world. We are gonna make you a better world. We will all respect you,
round of applause for the Buganda drum beaters, the Philippine dancers, Hail Mary the Queen Children's Choir, the Manila Philharmonic Orchestra, and Ms. Bitwin Escalante. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending the opening ceremony of the 6th UNWTO International Conference on Tourism Statistics. Let us maximize the opportunity to work towards a statistical framework for measuring sustainable tourism for the benefit of our planet and the generations to come. Now, may we invite our conference participants to the Marriott Grand Ballroom for the first session. Our ushers will guide you to the conference hall. Please allow our tourism ministers to exit the venue first. Once again, thank you and mabuhay!